Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, whether you're tuning in on the radio dial in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM. We welcome you all back to our program, as well as tuning in through our online affiliates around the world. We're glad to have all of you with us as well. Actor Jonathan Lipnicki is making his first appearance on our show today to talk to us not only about his amazing journey as an actor, but what it's been like for him to do what he loves and to be able to see the response over the years. These past few years, you've seen him on a variety of roles, but probably one that is terrifying people the most this year is called CIRCUS KANE. We'll talk to Jonathan about that film, what it's been like for him to see the response, the role that social media has played in getting the word out, and, of course, we'll let you all know how you can stream it and purchase it for yourself. Jonathan, hello to you, and welcome to the program.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hey, the pleasure's definitely all mine, Jonathan. And what was so great for me when I was prepping for your segment is that people know you. I think when they hear your name, there are certain films, of course, that will automatically come to mind. Of course, Jerry Maguire being one of the big ones, Stuart Little. But I think over the past few years, when I first saw an interview that you did, I first heard about this film Pitching Tents that you did. And once I heard about it, I went on Amazon, was able to go and to be able to watch it for myself, and a totally different view of you as an actor. What has that been like for you, Jonathan, to be able to do what you love, as I mentioned, and to be able to bring these various characters to life?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for watching Pitching Tents and watching my current work. I really appreciate it. It's been when you love something, it can sometimes be challenging because especially like making a transition like child actor to now acting in more adult roles. It can be hard because you have to, like you said, when people say my name, like certain movies come to mind, it can also, work against me where people think they, know who I am. But, you change a lot over the years, I'm not the same person I was when I was 5 when I did Jerry Maguire, or 7 when I did Stuart Little. But it's been an amazing journey. When you love something, it can hurt a lot, but, you really feel those lows, but you also really feel those highs. And it's been really great to do different roles and really get to experiment a lot and just try different things. And, I love it more than ever, and I feel like I fall in love with acting more every day.
Wow, that's awesome. And do you find that one of the reasons that you do fall in love with it every day, Jonathan, is because, as I said, you these days especially, let's just say the past 3 or 4 years, you definitely, we don't know where we're going to find you. Another great example, Edge of Salvation, a film about family. And like I said, of course, the film Pitching Tents, and then you take us to a different extreme with CIRCUS KANE. Is that part of the fun, knowing that you get to be pretty much what you want to in these roles?
Yeah, it's not, I think the fun part is like not knowing what type of role I'm going to play next. I've gotten to do some good comedy and some good drama, and I think it's exciting because when you're a kid, it's not that it's not that there aren't a lot of roles, but the roles are very similar to each other and very limiting because the kids aren't obviously a lot like oftentimes aren't a huge arc of the movie. But there's more interesting roles that I still am going to age into, and I think that's kind of the exciting part.
Yeah, I'm not going to belabor the Jerry Maguire connection there because I know you get asked about that a lot, Jonathan. But I wanted to broaden it out because typically when I'm talking to individuals like yourself or authors who've written 20, 30 books, they're able to look back at this amazing journey that spans 30, 40 years. You have done a lot, in your lifetime already. We know that there's more to come. Do you still have those wow moments when you kind of look at all that you've been able to do when, quite frankly, there have been so many actors that have come and gone since you've been on the scene?
I don't really often think about that. I'm not, really. I try to just always keep pushing forward. There are times that for your own mental health as an actor, I think you got to, celebrate the little victories. Like, hey, I'm working. Like, that's great. That's a hard part. The hardest part of acting is getting work. So, some very, very rarely, but sometimes I'll be like, wow, I've been doing this a long time. But really I'm just more focused on finding the next interesting thing to do and living in the moment and enjoying what's happening right now. and then also
Right.
prepping for, what I'm trying to do next.
Yeah. And you know what? I think for a lot of us, that is probably one of the most difficult but necessary things to do for sure. We talk a lot about on this program about the importance of being present and trying to enjoy the moment. I struggle with it, Jonathan, because I try to live in the moment and appreciate it, but then I'm like, okay, but what's happening tomorrow? What do I have going on,
Exactly.
next month or whatever. I mean, for yourself, though, the other interesting thing I thought was that not only have you been able to be a part of so many different projects, you've been able to be a part of so many different individuals' lives. I mean, what has that been like for you, especially now in the world of social media, to hear from your fans and to kind of see the way that they've been able to appreciate your work?
It is crazy. It's awesome to be able to connect with people. I mean, really be able to connect, one-on-one with people and broaden your fan base and also stabilize the fan base you already have. And then besides social media, like I've been doing conventions here and there, doing, like Comic-Cons, and the people who come out are so cool, and it's so awesome to have that support system and have people who like really care about your next movie. And it makes you, you sometimes lose track of that when you're focusing on getting work or doing the best job you can on the current work you're doing, that certain people it means a lot to, and that makes it mean, even more to me that I possibly made someone's day better,
Right.
And it's so cool with social media, with these conventions, actually being able to connect one-on-one with people.
Yeah. And I know they definitely enjoyed that as well. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, either on the radio dial or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome Jonathan Lipnicki to our program today. He's an actor that's definitely been able to do what he loves and to be able to see the response. And he's added other titles along the way as well. I mean, did it seem like a natural progression for you, Jonathan, as you were going throughout your career, that you would not only be able to establish yourself in front of the camera, but also to be able to make a name for yourself behind the camera too?
You know what? It was something that's always been a thought of mine that just I thought at some point it would happen. I never, I never pushed it. I guess I never really pushed for a certain time frame for that to happen in. But I just thought, naturally at some point I would want to, be there controlling content also. I remember when I was 12, tried to get the rights to a book to be a producer on a project to get a book made. And one time, someone else got the rights, and I ended up actually doing the movie still. It's called When Zachary Beaver Came to Town. But I remember that was my first kind of trying to be a little mini producer at 12, younger than 12 years old, 10 years old. But I just thought at some point, it'll probably happen. Just now I'm starting to write also, and I want to explore different stuff. I mean, you really, if you really love what you do, you're a fan of all facets of it. And I'm a fan of writing. I'm a fan of producing. I'm a fan of directing. I don't know if I'll direct. Writing and producing, though, are definitely on my radar.
Right. Well, I think that is the other cool thing. And speaking of that, when you mentioned the word content, of course, now in the world that we live in, where especially because of the internet, we're able to have that control. How has that helped you? I mean, we talked briefly about social media and you're connecting with fans there, but how is knowing the world that we live in, like a world that films like CIRCUS KANE have taken advantage of, how has that helped individuals like yourselves to share these stories?
Well, it's great because even with doing, an independent movie, it doesn't mean that it won't be seen because you have all these new platforms that it can be seen on. And it's amazing because I can go and I can tell fans at a Comic-Con who maybe weren't aware that I had a movie out, be like, go check this out today, on these streaming services. And that's really, it's cool because there's more opportunities for people to see your work. And I think that's just amazing considering, when I first started, if you did an independent film and it didn't get a huge release, theatrically, people maybe wouldn't find out about it at all. And now it can still, get a big viewership without being, a huge, in thousands and thousands of screens.
Right. That is so true, which brings us back to CIRCUS KANE. Now, this has been a big year of the clown, I think for sure. When I first saw that poster for CIRCUS KANE, Jonathan, it is a bit scary looking. This is another intense project for sure for those who have not watched it. We're going to tell you a little bit later how you all can be able to do it. What is it that attracted you to this project, Jonathan?
I thought it would be really fun. I mean, there's also when I look at doing something, I look at, there's always the fun factor. I mean, there's the artistically fulfilling factor. There's different factors I look at, like, oh, do I like the material? Do I like I just thought this would be a lot of fun to make. And I was right. It was really, 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 really fun. And it's funny with the whole clown thing, because when we started making the movie, we weren't even discussing, like, it coming out. I don't think it had been announced. And so we, when it, was announced, we're like, oh, that's interesting. It's going to be an interesting time for it to come out, because of all the popularity of that. But, I mean, there's something about clowns that really attract people, and also I feel like stress people out. Because clowns I'm scared of clowns, so I get it.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you said that, because that was one of the things I wanted to talk to you about. I have, of course, being here in Mississippi, being from Mississippi, one of our, hometown heroes is Oprah Winfrey. And one of the things that she loves to say is that, if you're afraid, do it afraid. How do you manage to, because I have imagined, being able to have done what you've done and worked on the projects you have. I mean, there is, of course, the idea of, how this is going to go, how it's going to be perceived. How have you not allowed fear to stop you in this journey that you've been on in your career?
To be completely honest, it's not like I'm this huge, courageous, fearless person. Fear plays a common factor for me. As someone who grew up, suffering from anxiety and still do to this day, fear has definitely been a huge hurdle for me to overcome. Whether it's sometimes for me, it's like when I get offered to do a lot of like public appearance type stuff, I get nervous. I definitely get anxiety. I've just had to try to do things that scare me. And it's like, ripping off that Band-Aid, and it's scary, but it's the only way you start to kind of get used to these things and be able to overcome them. And you realize maybe this wasn't even scary at all, but it was just really fun.
Yeah. Well, for those who have not heard about CIRCUS KANE, I think, the two things that I love about this is that I always love the what if scenario of, what if you were offered this, or what if you went through this. But the other thing that I love about this project, and I'm curious to see your thoughts about this, is that, it really does show how even in crazy times, people can work together. Even when you may not necessarily like someone, there are things that bring you together. I mean, what was it like for you to kind of see the dynamics of this, of the different layers of this film come together?
It was really interesting because, what I liked is they had very specific, like the contestants are very specific type characters. And I think that, that's really what added to it. It could have, been more, blasé and plain. But I think that having that and just having the aspect that they have to work together, I mean, it's the only choice they have, and you bring these, like, very different people together, it definitely heightens the emotions and heightens the tension and heightens a lot of times even the comedy. I mean, within the darkest moments, you always have some really funny stuff.
Yeah. And there are a lot of great people that are tied to this project, and that was another reason why I was excited to talk to you, Jonathan, many of whom we've had on this program. Cyrus Webb, who I got a chance when we were filming my TV show.
I saw this weekend. Gerald's awesome.
Yeah, in California. James Cullen Breathek, we met when I was in Los Angeles filming the show, the television version of this show for our Mississippi station here. I mean, so much talent. That's another great plus that you've been able to benefit from, right? I mean, being able to surround yourself with people that are equally as talented and passionate about projects like this, right?
Yeah, well, like Gerald and James are two people, and then also, Crystal and Ray, who have become friends through making this, but are very driven people who get it done. And I'm a fan of them as all human beings and also as just hard workers. And it was really great working with all of them, and now I consider each one of them, a friend.
Yeah. And can't forget Zach Ward. He also made an appearance on this program. Yeah, talking about his career. I mean, another great individual. I mentioned the being present, and I mean, I totally respect what you said about that. But I have to ask you about the what's next, because you have. I mean, here you are promoting this project, but you have other projects that you have been working on. I mean, can you kind of talk to us about the balancing act of that? Because, I mean, yes, you're excited about this and the response it's getting, but I know you're also excited about the other projects. How is that like to balance?
sometimes it's a little stressful. Like we talk about fear, and like I always like to be completely open and honest about this because, hey, we all suffer from varying degrees of it, and it's something that no one should be ashamed of. I was a little stressed out last night because I have three interviews today for CIRCUS KANE. I still have to write this speech that I have to do in front of people on Wednesday, which is like that's scary for me. I like give me a character, being myself, very scary. And then I have another job that I'm doing the next day, and then the next day after that I'm flying to go do a convention. So like I just when stuff's crammed very close, like I get a little scared of it, but it's just something the more you want to handle, and be able to achieve, the side of it comes a little stress.
Yeah.
That's just part of it, but it's, I'd rather be busy.
Right. I'm sorry. I was just going to say. I mean, one thing you said in this show that I appreciate that I honestly was not going to bring up because I'm always, I try to create a safe environment for our guest here because I mean, I know what it's like to be vulnerable and especially you and I don't know each other, so it that kind of adds to the the angst of it. But I've seen, especially the past couple of years, Jonathan, you've been very open about talking about the anxiety, talking about that. I mean, I know that also has to be a connection that your fans have made. I mean, that you are like them, and that for one thing, not only does it not have to paralyze them, but also that they can continue to find success. Is that one of the things that you found by sharing that part of your story?
Yeah, you know what? I feel like it was mutually beneficial as far as like selfishly. I got to feel like I could really be me for the first time, and then I mean the really important thing that happened was people connected with that, and they realized that certain people definitely feel alienated and alone because of their circumstances, and I got floods of messages which really meant the world to me that they were saying, hey, like it's good to see somebody that I look up to or somebody I relate to on deal with the same problems that I'm dealing with. And it's been really important for me to connect in that way, and I've kind of put an emphasis on myself to really be just honest. And there's nothing to be ashamed of with fear or anxiety. And yes, you can still have a very successful life. It's something I go to therapy for. It's something I work on a lot. But like honestly, last night, I was a little stressed out and a little tearing for the week, and like, I just want to get it done, and I want to do a good job. But it doesn't mean it has to paralyze you. Sometimes you just got to grit your teeth and push through it. But it's been really awesome to be able to connect with people on that level, because there's nothing, I gain nothing from being like, my life's so perfect or this or that. It only puts more pressure on me to act like my life's perfect, where if I go, hey, this is something I've been dealing with, take it however you want, and just being honest, I feel people really gravitate towards that.
Right. I totally agree, and I really appreciate you being able to do that, and I know your fans do as well. Jonathan, again, everyone, Jonathan Lipnicki has been our guest. Great conversation with you, Jonathan. We've been talking with him not only about his career, but also what it's been like for him to do what he loves, including the film that's getting a lot of buzz this year. And if you have not seen CIRCUS KANE, it's very easy for you to do so. It's available, of course, on your favorite rental site. Of course, our partner here is Amazon.com. You all can rent it there or purchase it for yourself through Amazon or, again, through your own favorite outlet. And then, of course, you can find out that the film is all over social media as well, so you can stay connected with updates there, too. Now, Jonathan, as I mentioned, you have a lot going on. How can our audience best stay connected with you?
On Instagram, I am Jonathan Lipnicki, just my name spelled out, JonathanLipnicki. I am Jonathan Lipnicki, verified fan page on Facebook. And for some reason, I don't know why I did this to myself, I did J Lipnicki on Twitter. I should have done, the same name on all platforms, but J Lipnicki on Twitter. And I stay on it mostly on Instagram. You'll see a lot of pictures of my dog.
Okay, so, there you go. So make sure you all definitely stay connected with him. Again, congratulations to you, Jonathan, on everything, and looking forward to our next conversation together, man.
Awesome. Thank you. Likewise, and thank you for having me.
Hey, glad to do it. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. If you all came in late and missed part of the conversation with Jonathan, don't worry. Thanks to our online friends, you all can catch the replay right after we go off the air. The link is already available through our social media site, so head over to Facebook.com/Cyrus Webb or go over to Twitter.com/Cyrus Webb. If you click on the link there, you can listen to the show completely for free and share it with your friends from there, too. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Make sure you take out time to enjoy some good music as well as a great book. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live today. You all make it a great one.